So we're going to start now. Just wanted to welcome everyone to the session today. And today is going to be a special session because we have a guest who is, his name is Giorgio Piluso. And Giorgio is, as you might have seen, and maybe some of you have met him or heard some of the things that he does, participated in some events also at the center in Rome or online. And so Giorgio has been practicing meditation with the Brahma Kumari since I think it's more than 30 years now. And he was introduced to the center when he lived in France. And he was already at that time practicing a number of, or experimenting really with different aspects of health and diet and yoga and different practices that maybe were quite unusual for that time or looking ahead of his times. And so Giorgio's journey took him to India. And so he had already been there for a number of years, but then at one point he decided that he wanted to go and spend some more time there, and I'll let him tell his own story. But just to say that he then went on to spend 7 years in a little village in quite a remote part of Rajasthan, close to where the headquarters of the Brahma Kumari Center is. And what was incredible, what I would go every year and visit him there as well, and see just how amazingly he had integrated his whole life and lifestyle with the village folk, And myself, having grown up in India, often the prevailing attitude towards village people, especially if you're from the city, is that, well, these are poor people, uneducated, and they have their own traditions and systems and practices. And so as I looked at them through, in a sense, through Giorgio's eyes and what he was looking at and what he was noticing, and it really opened up my eyes to see the beauty that maybe I'd never noticed because of different, taking people for granted and mindsets and so on. And so as a result of Giorgio's time there, together with his practice of meditation, and he also for a number of years had an interest in photography. And so he began to create a number of very, very beautiful images from the people there, from the everyday life, and created from that a very beautiful exhibition called Jewels in the Dust. And so wanted to ask Giorgio if he would share a little bit with us. What is it that he saw? What helped him to notice something that's extraordinary in something that superficially looks ordinary? And in what way maybe your practice of meditation, Giorgio, has helped you to actually have an eye for that and an eye of appreciation. So what was that ability to really not just appreciate, but to actually make the connection with the heart? And so the people in the village really, in a sense, adopted Giorgio as part of the family. And that's not that easy for a foreigner and for a community that's very close-knit and traditional. And so Giorgio then became familiar with a number of the different practices and the lifestyle. And so we would love to hear now from Giorgio as to what it is that you saw and what was your experience. So Giorgio, if you would put your video on. Thank you. Okay. Okay.
Hello, good morning. And so thank you, Radha, to invite me to share and to put me back in this period of my life that is probably the best period of my life, where it started in 2005 when I was already 50. So I was 50 years old, and I decided to move in India and to stay more time in India. So I went without a fixed date to return. And I decided to do this big change in my life because I've been going to India with my school, my Raja Yoga school. I've been going to India every year since 87. So, and what I was finding in India, going every year, apart my study with Raja Yoga, but I was finding a way of living, lightness in people, or something in people that was very spontaneous and very light, very beautiful way of expressing and communicating. So the place where I used to go and where I lived for many years, I lived 7 years in that area, is in Rajasthan, is in an area that is mountain area, and it's also desert. So very special, very isolated. So what I found that Radha was describing this aspect, okay, people see normal people, people that come from villages, what you find that is so special? Well, probably what I found, and this is the reason why I decided to go there and stay longer, what I found probably was connected with my childhood and my young age, where there was an enthusiasm, there was a kind of joy of discovering things, joy of discovering friends, being with friends, joy of discovering nature, and this enthusiasm in life that it's connected with something that very much I'm researching, not anymore in external, but internally with my my path of meditation. But what is connected is how to revive, how to revitalize this aspect that we have internally, and is connected with joy, with happiness, with enthusiasm, with amazement, how not to let it fade away. And so this period where I went to live in India, I went to live especially in this small village on the top of the mountain, is Mount Tabu. It's 1,200 meters high, and what I found living there, I found a way of interacting with people that they were not yet so much influenced by things that they are more and more growing, that is more a very materialistic way of living, where we have things and we become dependent on things. So I think the problem is not having things, but very easy, we becoming dependent, and how internal sparkle, the more we use these things, it seems the more diminish this internal sparkle. So what I found in that people, I found an innocence, um, simplicity, and at the same time regality, nobility that was also remind me of living with self-respect. These people, these simple people living in the village and having a very basic way of living, so considered by most standard poor, but they had a smile, they had a way of interacting, a way of showing interest, enthusiasm, that probably it reconnected me to my childhood, the innocence and the beauty of the childhood of discovering things. So from that, I was at that time a photographer, so I went to India with a good tools for making nice picture, for developing this picture, and I started a project that was called Jewels in the Dust, where I was taking picture from normal life. So people in the market, people doing shopping, or people living at home, cooking, or so wasn't people posing for me, was really the normal life, everyday life. And it came up an exhibition with these faces that I used to develop the picture to make it more and more looking very royal. So some of the picture I was adding some decoration, golden painting, and make it more and more royal. And so it came up this exhibition, Jewels in the Dust, that wanted to show the beauty of simplicity, the beauty of a very simple way of living, in contrast with, at that time, was the contrast of the West, the place where I was coming, that we have more and more, but the more we have, the more it seems that internally it's like we losing something. So that has become an exhibition that I'm happy to see again, because it's a picture, that photograph that now are somewhere in the hard disks, and I'm happy that Rada collected some, and we can maybe see together. But connected with, this is what I want to share with you, and is connected with my my path with meditation, how can we ignite or keep alive this internal fire with this enthusiasm, this capacity of seeing the beauty? Because like Radha was saying, she was asking me, what do you see? Which beauty you see in these people? For me, growing up in India, these are just poor people living in the countryside. So the connection, what I was able to see is what I wanted to reignite in myself. This is why it was resonating so much. So was resonating so much that I spent 7 years there in this, mainly in this little village in Mount Abu, outside Mount Abu. And the people there, they became my family. So what I was living for many years was like being in a flow, My life was beautiful. I was waking up in the morning and very spontaneous. I was so excited that I was living in India. So it was like a dream come true. And so this is lasted for a long time and was very spontaneous, very natural, and connected with my meditation, my path with the meditation. This is something that I'm very interested in making a regular way of living. And so I maybe share later some practical aspect for us to give, maybe it will give the opportunity to reignite this beauty that we have inside and make it grow, make it evident, make it up, externalize. So maybe after showing some picture, I can share something on that. And maybe Radha, if you want to say something about the picture or showing the picture, you are at the control room, so maybe. And so I'm meditating with this Raja Yoga path for probably the last more than 30 years. And okay, this are the picture from that period in living in India. So they have been chosen very randomly. It's not the proper exhibition, jewels in the dust, but you can see, have a look at the expression and the eyes, this deep, deep sense of also self-respect. So this is what I wanted to catch whilst taking pictures. Look, this is a part of one of the very ancient tribe of Rajasthan, and they are nomads. So they used to live traveling with lot of animals. They had camels, they had goats, and they used to travel in the desert. And what was also fascinating was their way of dressing. that it's a pity, but now going in India, this is what is completely disappearing. And so these people, at least at external level, they look so ordinary now because they wear Western dress, normal suits. So nothing wrong with that, but you see it's very, very beautiful, this way of dressing traditional as really a regality. This is the milkman, and look at that. It's it could be on a stage, you know, on a stage on Milano fashion show. Look how is dressed, and it's apart the how is dressed is the royalty. This is what I see, the regality of their way of being. And I'm curious also to hear what is your way, what do you see. This I was just passing by. I was traveling with my scooter that was a Vespa. In India is very well known. This at that time Piaggio now has become fully Indian, but with this scooter. And when there was something to take a picture, I will stop, and I always had with me all my gears with to take photo very, very quick. So this is just two little girls, and look at the expression. One is quite looking with little concern. What's happening? Who is this person taking photo? And the other one ready to smile and to show a very nice smile. And but you can see also the how, what can I say, how inside it reflects in the picture. For me, it reflects this well-being, with this internal being well. So this also is also a series of the same period. This is people living in the desert with a climate that is very, very hard, because it's very hot during the day, and during the night can become quite cold. So what do you see? What do you see? I used to see, and still I see, beauty and a kind of being clear, being very, very much centered in their way of living. So this is what fascinated me at that time. So I became very, very close with all these people, and I learned so much, so much. At that time, often foreigners, Westerners, they used to come up there thinking to bring something to help these people. My experience is that I shared whatever I had at that time, but I took so much from their spontaneity, from their way of being so natural, and without so much how you say, so much burden that in the West we tend to accumulate more and more. So connected with my meditation path, I'm very interested of rediscovering internally and after expressing this way that we can be spontaneously happy, spontaneously joyful, and express all the beauty that each one of us has internally. So what to do for that? And I can share few things that still are part of my way of living, and also is connected with something that I'm been following recently about this how to step into this state that is called in English is called flow, a state where at least for some time we are able to forget completely ourselves, and more than forgetting ourselves, forgetting this, putting aside this voice that constantly is analyzing, is like checking, like a little voice inside our head that it's or very perfectionist, or as something to criticize, or a voice that say and give a feeling always that is not enough, is not like it should be, or the voice that make me feel like something wrong is about to happen. So I don't know if you have also these same patterns that come up during the day, come up in a form very obvious or in the background, a voice that inhibits this this state of flow, this state of just being well, just being with myself, happy with what I am, how I am now. So this is the connection between taking that picture, living in that period, and my path of meditation, and not just meditation that for few moments or for half an hour I relax and I feel a little bit that yeah, I relax, I remove some of the tension, because meditation, yes, that one aspect is this, but another aspect that I'm more and more interested is how to facilitate this external, questi internal experience of being completely at ease, completely well with myself, with what I'm doing, and with how I'm progressing. And so for this, I think one aspect very important is to be able to shut down for some time this analytic voice, this voice that someone compared to like having a little Woody Allen inside your head. You know Woody Allen, it's a great artist, but often it's always speaking and always analyzing. He's feeling, always tendency of thinking about what will happen, what catastrophic things will happen. So I'm sure you know Woody Allen, and nothing to do about his art. It's a great artist, but it's if you can visualize inside your head, if you recognize this aspect that sometimes you would like to leave apart, to shut down. And so when we are able to do that, we step into a state that is more spontaneous, more natural. And so we find ourselves in a state that is expressed like a state of flow, a state where what's happening, I'm fully fluid with these things that are happening outside me. Internally and outside is a state of natural flowing. And so how to maintain, how to revive, how to have this possibility every day of stepping into that? Because my experience is when we have even a few minutes of this state where everything is natural and it's pulsating of good vibration, after this has an impact of whatever I'm doing, the way I'm doing things, the way I interact with people. This is has a huge impact when I'm able to experience moments of complete liberation of worry, of thinking about tomorrow, thinking about the past. And, eh, and I think it's very important to give consideration to certain things that sometimes we forget, and are very basic and simple things, and we can find our own way of choosing what I like to do, what I really found that is uplifting me. And so can be movement like dance, can be hatha yoga, can be breathing exercise, can be go and running, or can be a physical activity that is very good, that is part of my daily routine, some good and proper physical activity. It can be also art, music often, if we listen to music we like, or if we create music, it helps us to step into a state where thinking become less and less, and more and more become experiencing. And another aspect very important to take in consideration, for example, is my way of eating. And so we can also pay attention to that in a way that the way I eat, what I eat, give me a sense of being well nourished, but at the same time of being light. And so I think it's very important to find moments during the day where I really do what I like in the sense, this is what make me step into a feeling of bliss, into a feeling of ecstasy. This is something that I'm sure we can work on that, and is accessible to everyone more and more. And instead for example, using technology or using food or using external stimuli to become dependent, I'm sure we can discern and using in a way that bring us close, and also this bringing us close create a feeling of being part of one, being part of the same family. This also is an incredible good feeling that often the situation of the day, the burden that we take on us and the responsibilities put us in a state of tiredness, in a state of like we like suffer to go ahead. And yeah, this is something I'm very, very interested. I would like to listen from you if you want to share what is your method to step into a state where I forget myself. I step into an experience that I can bring back, and it's helpful. And so can be dance, can be singing, can be running. What is for you this experience that liberate us without bringing us more into bondages? Because there are use of external facilities that they have an appearance of interest, of making us forget, but the after effect also is important. Is uplifting us, or is creating more dependence? So this is some thought about what's happening in my research with meditation. I know it's a lot of things, but yes, I like to hear from you and from Radha. If she has something to say, you can step in.
Thank you very much, Giorgio. And yes, please, I think Wansi had her hand up. So please, Wansi, go ahead.
Thank you so much, Giorgio. I have to stop my video because I've got my cap on. Thank you so much for that. The pictures are amazing. They are really a look into the soul. I think I can share my experience this morning. My sister-in-law called me and she had somebody die in her arms this morning, and it was very emotional. And the thing that I did was to find my center. So I said to myself, this is not something, yes, she's crying and she was really, those gut-wrenching sobs. And I said to myself, I need to find my fulcrum. I need to find my center. I need to be there to comfort, to empathize, and to listen, but I don't need to take the suffering onto myself. And I think a lot of us take the suffering onto ourselves. The world at the moment is coming at us so much that we get so caught up in getting angry and feeling hurt. So this morning, I was very proud of myself because I didn't take on her hurt. I was just, a comfort. I was able to breathe with her. I was able to say to her, take a moment. It's okay. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. And that, just being that fulcrum, I think it gave me such a sense of peace. Thank you, Giorgio and Radha.
Well, thanks to you for to share this experience. This is yeah, this is what I'm talking when what I'm talking about when I talk about my interest of reaching a stage where you experience beautiful things, but they don't become a dependence, a swefaction, how you say, a dependence, but become a strength. And so this is something that we have to clarify with ourselves. But your experience sure show that you have an internal strength, and you've been able to help with your presence, with your reconforting, and without taking the pain. This is possible, and yeah, thank you for sharing that. This is really my keen interest in following a meditation path where I can measure that I'm becoming more and more liberated of things that we can see everywhere in the world. So I cannot change directly what's happening around the world, but I can change the root, the seed of all the problems that really are happening in the world. And so this balance between experiencing the beauty of that we are, every one of us is, this beautiful, this love, this peace that we are, how to externalize and not just remaining in my own experience and isolating myself. So this is the, 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 the beauty that we can offer now, the strength that what you become, you offer it. And it's, yeah, it's great. So this kind of sharing, this kind of conversation are really a great tool to help help each other with discovering new way, and to also sustain ourselves in this research, in this aspect of meditation. Yes.
I think Eric had wanted to say something. Eric, you're still here? Maybe not. So in case anyone else would like to share something, and then we will have a meditation. Yes, Aldous?
Yes, hello. I had a question, and I wonder what Giorgio's take is on the question. And the question is, do you believe you have a destiny? And do you see yourself as here to fulfill it?
Well, I think this thought has been suggested to me many years ago. And yes, I do believe it. I do believe it. And a destiny that I found more and more has to do with rediscovering the internal strength, the internal beauty, really the essence of what we are. And after how this destiny will unfold, this I don't know. But I know that my destiny, I want that to be a destiny where my way of living is very I don't know if in English you say coherent. So what I become internally, I can offer it. And yeah, I do believe my destiny is focus into the full positivity, full goodness that I know I am. I know I haven't yet fully expressed or become, but I'm on the way, and I'm sure every one of us, if we step in this way of considering yourself in this way, because I think what's happening is the information, the huge amount of information and the vibration of the world, what is constantly being shown as a problem, suffering, and all of this. We have to protect ourselves. We have to, at least for regular moment during the day, we step in a world that is only our own internal world. And there, I'm sure it's the place where I can find a meaning of what's happening outside. I can find a meaning of my life, and I can step into this firm believe that, yes, I have a destiny to unfold. And my attitude, my sincerity, my honesty has a lot to do if I'm able to express it. And also, don't wait for anything. Don't wait for one day that will arrive. Now is possible to do something that is completely in tune with what I want to express, what I want to give, and what I have experienced inside myself. So I don't know if I answer your question, but yes, in essence, I do believe we all have a destiny that is not fixed. I'm creating this destiny, and I'm very willing to create the best that I can.
Thank you, Giorgio. There's a comment by Rhoda, which is, it's taken me so many years for me to deal with negative feelings you mentioned, like drowning in a sea of doubts and apathy. And I use music to help me and meditation to give me the energy to go forward. And so, just looking at the time, actually, I'm wondering whether maybe you could guide us in a short meditation. And I see that Eric is back. I think, Eric, would you like to say something briefly, or shall we have the meditation? Okay, maybe we can go ahead with the meditation, and then if anyone wants to add anything at the end, we could do that too. So please, Giorgio.
Okay, a simple meditation, just for a few moments. We decided to just make the world outside us disappear. Nothing exists except my own thoughts. I focus on this present moment, and the best way is just to focus on my breathing. The breathing is happening now. So I just focus my attention to inspiration or inspiration, and I let this fresh air come inside my lungs, and letting go, I let go the air, and letting go, I let go also all the tension that can be accumulated in my body. So again, I let the air in my lungs, and I let go of any kind of tension. And I focus now just in the middle of my forehead. I visualize myself as a star, a shining star, a thinking star. And now, for a few moments, I just want to be aware of myself as a living energy in the middle of my forehead. Here, I know I can create my thoughts. And I just observe. First step, I become the observer of myself. I just let go everything and be now in this moment, and I create a thought. I am a spiritual being. I am a living star, a peaceful star, living in the middle of my forehead, in this physical body. And I let this feeling, this sensation of lightness, I am light, and I experience leaving aside all worries, all burdens. Now, just for a while, I am light, I am peace. I am in my internal world, and this is what I am. I am peace, I am love, I am joy, I am strength. Step into this internal silence, a silence that gives me energy, it gives me strength, it re-energizes me and renovate me. And I bring back with me this experience, and I can share it in the form of listening, sharing, be kind. When I feel good inside, this is what I will express. So I invite you to give time every day for moments just for yourself, because it's so essential, because after it's what we will offer to our friends, our family, and the people we meet at work, everywhere. We need to step inside and take the strength, and the strength also to carry the different burden that we all have in our life. And if I have enough strength, I can maybe help someone else with their burden. So thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to share these things that for me are very important. I look forward to listen from you about this conversation that can uplift all of us. Okay, thank you. Give you the voice to Radha, and she can tell us what to do now.
Thank you very much, Giorgio, and for sharing. Really, I think in essence, it's the ability to appreciate, and so it's one thing to appreciate things maybe in a different culture, in a different place, but I see your ability to appreciate in your own home, in your own country, has not diminished at all. So that's very inspiring, and so it's something, as you say, when you learn how to create that vision within, that's when whatever we see becomes extraordinary. So thanks to everyone as well for your participation, and so this